Hello, everybody, and welcome to the official launch party of the MOJO of Multidimensional Manifesting. Yay! After a long haul, it's finally here, and really excited to be sharing some information with everybody. So I've set up this live stream to go for an hour and a half. I honestly have no idea how long it's going to go, but we'll just see how it goes. I do have a lot to cover though, so we're going to definitely invite participation from everyone if you want to participate. But I'm going to talk to you about what I have planned for today. And so I want to start out with anchoring love into our sacred space. We're creating a sacred space right here. I'm going to anchor my intention for you as a reader. We are going to talk about what the book actually is and why did I write it. So you'll get some information about the kind of the backstory of the book. I'm going to read you the table of contents, and so you'll have a good idea of what is in the book. And we're going to talk about some highlights from chapter 1. We're also going to talk about the progression of where my work is going now that this book is finished. I'm going to announce 2 events that are coming up in December that are some free events that everybody will be invited to. And then we will finish with a short meditation, which is in the book. So I hope everybody's excited about that. And I brought one of my crystal singing bowls. So we're going to use that. And everybody can anchor in some amazing stuff that will, this is how it's described. Reconnecting with your true nature so that you can heal anything from any timeline. So I want you just to have that in the back of your mind. What is it that you want to heal? And that's going to be part of what we're going to do. So, all right. So for those of you, I think everybody knows me, but in case you don't know me, my name is Cynthia Clark, and I'm a spiritual abundance mentor, and I'm also a hand analyst expert. So I've been reading hands for over 15 years now. And I'm also a pilot. I was fortunate enough to finish my my flight review yesterday. So I know, right? Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, every 2 years, a pilot has to go through a flight review. At least a private pilot does. I'm not sure what the commercial pilots have to do. Probably the same thing. But anyway, it was a bit of a grueling exam. It's a 3-hour test with a flight. I actually had to do 2 flights because we did maneuvers on one day and we did landings yesterday. And I'm happy to report that my landings were really good. My maneuvers were great. Everything went really well. Yeah, like butter. Yeah, I had buttery soft landings. I was so proud of myself because that's not easy to do, especially, if you don't fly like all the time, it's sometimes you get a little bit out of practice. So anyway, let me see if I can pin myself to show myself. Here we go. All right. Yeah, that way we should be focused on me. But yeah, so that's why I wore this is my necklace with my wings representing passing my flight review.
Where did you get those wings from?
I got them from my husband, Pat.
What a guy.
Yes, he is quite a guy. So anyway, so all of this in the same week as launching my book, which I've been working on now for over a year. So I'm really excited to be sharing. By the way, this is my 3rd book. It's not my first book. So if you want to go back to some older books, my last book that I actually published was in 2017 called Stories in Your Hands. So that was a palmistry book based upon the archetypes, and there's 22 different archetypes that show up in your hand shape. So by the time you are about 5 or 6 years old, you have your hand shape is formed. And so that book talks about all 22 of those archetypes and how you can identify your archetype. So that's a really, really cool book if you're interested in learning more about your subconscious influences, which I feel are very important. And then before that, I published a long time ago a palmistry inspiration card deck, and then I did a guidebook that was attached to that book. So that was my 2011, I think, way back in 2011 project. So anyway, so this book, and by the way, I don't even have like the actual copy yet. I've got a proof copy. So this is my proof copy of my new book. So I was hoping to get the soft cover launched at the same time as the Kindle version, and it just didn't work out that way. So the soft cover is going to actually launch this afternoon. It should be within the hour. And the Kindle is already going since yesterday. So this one called The MOJO of Multidimensional Manifesting, Unlocking True Abundance Through Spiritual Ascension. And I'll read to you guys the back cover here in just a little bit, but this is my new book. Okay, so first off, I want to anchor in some sacred space, because of course we are, when you come in as a group, it's really good to set some group intentions, and I'm all about manifesting. And so we want to set the tone for how our talk and our time together is going to go. So my guides actually gave me 3 anchors that they wanted me to bring in. Okay, so the first anchor is I anchor love deep into the earth so that all may know the ascension path. I anchor my intention of enlightenment to the whole planet so that individuals may choose the ascension path. I anchor healing and karma balancing to the whole planet so that individuals may accelerate in the ascension path. Thank you, and so it is. So we got that first set of anchors. And then I also meditated the other night, and I got a message from Archangel Gabriel. And he told me to anchor this intention for the readers. And so I wanted to read this one to you as well. So I'm going to do what's called a mudra, and I'm going to place my hands in what's called the Wheel of Fortune mudra. So this is one of the archetypes. And so how we do this one is we bring in the thumbs and what's called your Apollo finger, which is your ring finger. We bring these two together. And then I'm just going to place this up by my heart. And this is the invocation that Archangel Gabriel gave me for all of you. I hereby claim and declare my intention to reach as many starseeds and spiritual high achievers as are open and receptive to my words of power being expressed through my book, The MOJO of Multidimensional Manifesting, to activate, enlighten, and inspire each reader to take action on their own behalf, to commit to their own ascension, and find love and connection to the cosmic heart consciousness just from reading the pages of this book. May it also elevate Gaia and her ascension as well. Thank you, and so it is.
All right.
Is that a good intention for you? Yeah, I think so. I thought that was a really good one. I'm like, I gotta bring that in. So we're calling that in. Okay, so let me read to you the back cover so you guys know what the heck this book is about. Okay, so are you ready to embark on a journey that transcends the ordinary? In the MOJO of Multidimensional Manifesting, Unlocking True Abundance Through Spiritual Ascension, spiritual mentor Cynthia Clark delves deep into the realms of the extraordinary, exploring what it truly means to be multidimensional so you may manifest with greater ease. In MOJO with your soul and highest potential, uncover the mysteries of why we forget our true essence and the path of ascension that beckons us toward higher consciousness. Within these pages, Clark answers pressing questions: what transpires before we incarnate? Who are our spiritual guides, angels, and ascended masters? How do you discern genuine transmissions from higher beings? She shares direct channelings of the benevolent ETs, including the Pleiadian Council of Light and the Arcturians. This book also sheds light on profound aspects of life, addressing the enigma of suffering, the existence of malevolent forces, and the aftermath of tragic choices. Discover the intricate web of karma, how we are never victims, and why some souls willingly choose trauma. Relationships are explored too, from the golden rules that bind them to the powerful keys for healing them. Dive into the depths of your own shadow self. Decipher soul contracts and differentiate between families and soul mates. Open your Akashic archives to glean ancient wisdom and emotion. Sorry, this is underneath a little thing here. And go on a journey to find your purpose, not only in life, but etched within your own fingerprints. Learn practical tips and manifesting tools that are fun and engaging, maintain a positive mindset, and embrace adaptability. Throughout, you'll be guided by the cosmic heart, learn the significance of gratitude, and understand the profound connection between love and ascension. Raise your vibrational set point just by reading this book. Encounter the transformative violet flame and recognize the presence of love interventions. The MOJO of Multidimensional Manifesting isn't just a book, it's your portal to limitless potential. Venture beyond the veil of illusion and discover the incredible power of your multidimensional MOJO so that you can manifest your dream life of abundance and miracles.
Good.
So that's what the book is about. Anyone have a comment on that?
It's a big place, Cynthia. That's a heck of a map.
It is, yes, it is a lot. So this book has taken me, like I said, over a year to write this. So it's but it's actually years and years of channeled meditations and just my own spiritual journey. So I really hope that you guys enjoy it. I hope you feel your vibration raise as you read it. And I'm just really excited to see, what everybody thinks about it. So, yay. Now, I'd also like to read to you guys my acknowledgements, because I do want to thank all the people who were helping me through this whole process. So I'm just going to talk about them. First off, my husband, Pat, who is here. Yes, thank you, honey. He's definitely my biggest fan and support. So he's, he sacrifices time with me so that I can write and spend a lot of time working. So I do appreciate that. He gives me the opportunity to do that. I would also like to thank my editor, who is not my first time editor, but she's actually edited my last book as well. Her name is Karen Connington, and she's just a great editor. She just understands me so well. So I really appreciate you, Karen, and your insights really are so appreciated. And I just can't tell you how great this work wouldn't be nearly as polished without her help. So I really value that. So
Thank you.
also I want to thank Sheila, who's here, because she's my assistant, and Sheila and I actually go way back, I mean, at least over 10 years now. Yeah, so it's nice to have people who I've known for a long time now kind of carry me forward on the journey. But yeah, so Sheila's read multiple drafts, and I'm about to give her the audio to listen to because the audio book just came in today too. So we gotta check on the audio. But that'll probably go out next week or sometime next week. So I'm excited about that. And I'd also like to thank Rob is in the room. Thanks, Rob, for reading an earlier draft of my book. I really appreciate that. And of course, Dr. Davia for helping with like the launch portion of the book. I definitely really appreciate that. I'd also like to thank Leisha Joyner, Elizabeth Mead, Jim, who is a fellow Pleiadian who helped me with the book cover, Gandalf, who helped me with my marketing along the way. So all of you have really played a big part in the creation of this book. So, and if I missed anybody, I know there's going to be a few more of you who are going to help me with the launch. So I thank all of you in advance for that. So I know Karen, you're out there. You're probably listening. I appreciate you because I know you said you'd help me with the launch, and a few other people. So, but anyway, if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. But definitely the biggest ones that and who I'm dedicating the book to are my guides, my spirit guides, the Pleiadian Council of Light, the angels, the archangels. I mean, they're the ones who have been coming to me now telepathically for years. And I mean, this book wouldn't exist without their guidance and communication. So I'm really grateful for that too. So happy to be a scribe, as they call me. My name Clark, when I got my name changed, I didn't realize that the meaning behind the name Clark was scribe. So I was already setting myself up to be a writer when I changed my name. So I thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. I had no idea, but there it is. Yeah. So, and I also had a synchronicity this morning, by the way. The synchronicity was a spam call. Do you guys ever get those spam calls? I get them every once in a while, but this one was really funny because it was 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, like 10 ones was the phone number that was listed. And I'm like, oh, a new beginning. How appropriate. So I thought that was actually pretty hilarious. And I always take my signs, seriously. And that's definitely in the book. I talk about my number 717 that came through multiple times. And it was actually the start of ascension17.com. I didn't know, you know, formally, I mean, I informally knew about ascension, but I didn't formally know about ascension. So we're going to talk a little bit about that because it is covered in chapter 1. So I'm going to read to you guys next the table of contents. Oh, and we do have a comment in the chat. Let's see. Can you put a link for the Kindle version so that we can write a review to help you rank up over the next week? Oh man, that would be so amazing. Yes, I would love that. Maybe Sheila, if you could go into your email and copy that over for me. I just posted the link. I don't know if you've got the link, but anyway, that would be helpful to get that link. We'll see if we can get it before the end of the call. Okay, so next up, let's see, I want to read to you guys the table of contents. Okay, so what else is going in this book? By the way, when I first got this published, there was 222 pages. So again, like all the numbers just added up. It was also just like really hilarious. And I'm like, wow, with this formatting, because I had no idea how many pages it was going to be. But that was pretty funny too. So we've got the 1s and the 2s. Okay, so chapter 1 is you are multidimensional. What does that mean? Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Chapter 2, you are already perfect. Chapter 3, you are never alone. Remember to call on your spiritual friends. Chapter 4, why does this keep happening? Suffering is optional. Chapter 5, you've been here before with the same people. Chapter 6, becoming a purposeful manifester. Chapter 7, handling triggers, setbacks, and disappointments. And chapter 8, love always surrounds you. So this is definitely meant to be a very uplifting book. So even when I talk about challenges, which is kind of my personality too. So let's go to the chapter 1. And I'm going to read to you a little bit of some of chapter 1. Actually, I want to mention a little bit in the introduction as well. We've got, I just want to talk about what happens before we are born and all the things that we forget when we go through the veil of amnesia. And another key to remember is that life doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. So we are co-creators all the time of our reality. And so it's important to remember that. And so this book is structured to guide you in understanding that there are 8 essential intentions to manifest anything. And when you have these 8 intentions anchored into your energy field, you create a strong foundation to manifest any abundance. And so my expectation for you as the reader is that you will not only become a much better manifester after reading this book, but you will also become much more aware of what you're creating in your own life and elevate it towards greater love and compassion for yourself and also for others. So that is another intention I have for you. So, okay, so chapter 1, you are multidimensional. What does that mean? I set the intention of I am a magical manifester of any abundance. This is definitely a really important intention. And we have a higher self-activation, which you're welcome to. What I would do is I would put my right thumb, because your thumb is your manifestation finger. You can place your right thumb on your heart like this. Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, most people are not aware of their thumb being their willpower and their manifestation finger. So place that on your heart. And then this is the invocation. I surrender and consent for my higher self to work through me. I welcome and allow guidance, trust, and light so that I may once again know and use my authentic and loving might. Grace, peace, and gentleness are here. No more room for fear. The time is now to fly to my most high, to my most high.
Beautiful.
Mm. And then just anchor that right into your heart. Okay, so all the chapters have an activation like that at the very beginning. So I hope you enjoy them. So that's the first one. All right, so let's talk about, I'm just going to pick out a couple of keys. I'm not going to read the whole chapter. By the way, you can get the first chapter for free if you haven't done so already. You can go to ascension17.com and there's an opt-in right on the homepage if you want to read the whole chapter. Chapter 1 is included, but I'm going to read to you quite a bit right now as well. So I wanted to read this passage. This was one of my favorite passages, and this was about a message from my higher self and what it had to say about entering in a physical body. Okay, so just to give the background of this transmission, I went to a session called a QHHT hypnosis session. And it was after I had started seeing the number 717 over and over and over again, like 5 times a day. And I was wondering, what the heck is this number? I need to figure this out. And I wanted an outside person to kind of help me. So I discovered this form of hypnosis. And it was started by a lady, her name was Dolores Cannon. So I don't know if you've ever heard of her. She's deceased now, but she did this type of hypnosis for many years. And she trained a lot of people in it. So I went down to Scottsdale with my husband, Pat, and I scheduled a session with this lady. Her name is Erica Middle Miss, if you want to look her up, or if you want to go to Scottsdale and see her. She is definitely a very good hypnotherapist. I recommend her. She's also a naturopath, so she does some other stuff as well. A really beautiful person. But anyway, we spent like 5 hours together on that first session and just trying to figure out like, okay, what questions do you have and what do you want to learn and all that. So this came through that session. Okay. So my higher self said this: to make it work, we have to forget. We choose it all. Everything is clear in the crystal city. The crystal city is her home, referring to me, right? This is my higher self talking. So it's oftentimes the higher self will refer to you as another person. Okay. So this is the, let's see, the crystals. Okay, sorry. When she's preparing for a life on earth, this is the purpose of the crystal city. It seems like we're separated for a time, but we're really not. The purpose is to learn and grow as a soul. We are perfecting to become more like the one. We strive to be like the one. We would be distracted if we remembered all of who we are. It's very restrictive to go into a human body, like being shoved into a bottle that is too small, like a genie. Then you want out. And there is so much pain, mostly from being so restricted in such a tiny space. Bodies are very restrictive and difficult to deal with, but they are necessary for the specific growth that is chosen. Soul growth, accessing the lessons for each entity It shows a pathway that is very focused. We become curious and want to experience different ways of existing. It's an honored pathway, helps the source to grow into more expansion, helps all of us to learn and grow. So that's the transmission. So I thought that was interesting, you know, being shoved into a body seems appropriate, right? When you start to think of yourself as a multidimensional being, it's like, wow, okay, here we are in this little tight space, and this body very restrictive. So apparently we go through that veil of amnesia so that we can deal with it, which kind of makes sense. So okay, so then the next passage is all about the path of ascension, and this is super important, and it's definitely one of my key teachings. Okay, so I came across the concept of ascension from many different sources. To ascend simply means to grow spiritually, to evolve, to attain a higher vibrational frequency. And so this is another message from my higher self. It says, I learned the process of the soul's evolution. I learn about the importance of being in a body. It's important to be in a body and have time away from the body. Life is balance, learning balance, structuring balance. The purpose was to show you how loved you are and how much fun you can have while still learning your lessons and getting things done. Not to feel guilty or shameful. Don't be ashamed to be a beautiful being of light. To show her to be herself. Don't be someone else, be you. We want you to be you. Okay, so this is a really important key that they were talking about, my higher self was talking to me about, is that we are not meant to be someone else. Even though we're all connected, right? We're all in this quantum entanglement, and we're all connected. We're all part of the one, but we also have an individual path and an individual purpose. And they told me that each purpose is unique. Each person is very important. And it's important for us to connect back to that. So ascension is essentially connecting to your multidimensional being, which also in essence define the cosmic heart. So I refer to the cosmic heart consciousness throughout this book, and that's of course the divine love, right? The love that permeates the entire universe from our one infinite creator, whatever you want to call that. And we are here to co-create through that source energy. And so my spirit guides gave me 7 aspects to ascension, which are, I go into detail in this chapter 1 and throughout the book. Number 1 is opening to change. Number 2 is neutralizing karma. Number 3 is discovering of self. Number 4 is embodying the exalted self. Number 5 is learning lessons. Number 6 is connecting to higher and higher states of love and bliss. And number 7 is co-creating with source. Okay, so when they gave me these 7 aspects of ascension, it really stuck with me. And I wanted to explore exactly what that meant, because it's like, okay, I'm on this path of ascension. I saw this number so many times, and in that hypnosis session, I learned about 17 being the number of ascension, and the number 7 being my own personal birth path number. So everybody has a birth path number based on their numerology. Okay, so you add up the dates of your birthday. So, you know, you take like for me, December is my birthday coming up. So I would take the number 12, you add up the number 1 and 2, then you add up the day, right? You add up the day, then you add up the year, you add up all those numbers, and then you reduce it down to a single digit. That is your birth path number. Okay. So 7 is my birth path number. And interestingly enough, me and my husband, Pat, have the exact same number, Like not only the number 7, but the number 25. Like when we added up the numbers, we got 25, and then we reduced that. 2 plus 5 is 7. So it's like, that's interesting. So yeah, I think that's easier to, when you have a partner who's on the same birth path as you are, I think it's easier. My ex-husband was a 5, and he was definitely he was very adventurous. He was the traveler. The number 5 represents change and movement, and he was always wanting to move around. So I had a really hard time grounding with him. So I'm much more grounded now, interestingly enough, even though I fly a lot.
Right.
Because I'm in Sedona and I'm in a stable, much more stable situation. I'm happy about that. So, okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is we're going to break down these 7 aspects of ascension just a little bit. And I'm going to share with you some of the passages about this. Okay, so the first one, opening to change. Why is change so hard? Okay, this one is addressed in this chapter 1. Number 1 is only using and accepting the 5 basic senses. Okay, so this one drives me crazy because people discount the clairs, right? We've got clairvoyance, which is clear seeing. We've got clairaudience, which is clear hearing, clairsentience, clear feeling, claircognizance, clear knowing, and clairalience, clear smelling. And a lot of times, as we're shoved into this body and we're in our 3rd dimensional experience, we forget that we have all these different clair experiences that we can tap into, and that's accessing our multidimensional selves. So, I kind of I feel sorry for people who discount their intuition and just don't even acknowledge that it exists, because it's like, wow, you're really ignoring like a huge aspect of who you are by ignoring that. And you can absolutely develop it too. So I'm not any better than anyone else. I've just spent a lot of time studying this and working on it, going on over 20 years now, at least. So that's the first reason why people struggle with change. Okay, they're really stuck in the way that they perceive the world. Okay, so number 2 is ego. Okay, so this is our human personality that forgets spirit. Okay, so if you think, oh no, I don't have a spirit, that's the ego talking, right? We're forgetting our infinite selves. Okay, so while it is important, we must not forget that we are highly evolved spiritual beings of light. And I also refer to the ego as the lower self, or the not self. Okay, so it is important to have an ego. I talk about that in one of my videos. We do need ego, because if we didn't have ego, then we would just have we wouldn't have like a personal agenda or personal purpose. So we do need to have that personality. But ego, when it gets in the way and we forget all about our spiritual side, that's not good. That's out of balance. Okay. So number 3 is ignorance. Okay, so this means that, maybe you just don't know, right? You went through the veil of amnesia. You don't remember who you are. You're not supposed to remember everything all at once. But we're here to learn, and we're here to listen, and we're here to evolve. And so ignorance can only last for so long, right? And we all hear things and grow from different experiences as we go. But sometimes change is just too hard, because people just, I feel like some people willfully ignore things, that are right in front of them. So that's when it becomes a problem. Okay, number 4, too much faith in consensus reality. Okay, so this one I kind of chuckle a little bit because it's like, okay, we make certain assumptions, right, about things that we believe to be true. For example, they talk about the DNA and how 90% of it we can't identify, so they called it junk DNA. Okay, this is absolutely ridiculous. There is nothing junky about our DNA. Like, who even came up with that stupid term? I want to just slap them. Just because you don't know what it is doesn't mean it doesn't have a function.
Right, right.
It just doesn't even make sense. And why on earth would we all just accept that, right? So, let's tap into that other 90% of whatever that is, which is our multidimensionality. And that's actually connecting our full DNA. So, anyway, that's just one example. Okay, number 5 is subconscious programming. Okay, so this is definitely a big one because when we go through the veil of amnesia, we're born in our body, we take our first 6 years of our lives essentially operating from our subconscious. So they've done studies on the brain states of children, and it turns out that children under age 6 are always in their either delta or theta brain states, which are like sleeping states. So they're literally absorbing everything around them for the first 6 years. Okay. And your subconscious works it makes sense why little kids can learn so quickly, right? Because they're in that brain state, they're in that receptive brain state. But it can also impact us throughout the rest of our lives. So when we reach age 6 or so, that's when our hand shape takes form, right? And we have our archetype. And then after that, we are impacted by all those subconscious beliefs that we programmed in those first 6 years. So if you have a program that you've been running since you were 5 and let's say you're 35 now, it might or might not be useful for you still, right? So if you're trying to change, but you had a problem when you were 5 that essentially said, oh, change is hard, or change is scary, or change is bad, or change is dangerous, then you're going to have a hard time changing. So that's why it's important to be aware of your thoughts, be aware of what programs are running in your subconscious, and how do you identify that is you can actually see what's showing up in your field, see what shows up every day in your reality, and notice, right? Notice what's showing up, because that will give you clues as to what needs to heal, okay, or change. All right, so here's a quote from Jules Arness, who also wrote my foreword. And she said, she's an ascension coach and also the founder of Becoming BioQuantum. So Jules is an amazing person if you ever get to know her. She said, when we learn to play out our lives in a field of frequency, shedding old obstacles and beliefs, we gradually release all illusions that we are separate beings rather than an integral part of one universal consciousness. So yeah, she's all about ascension as well, and she helps people in her business. So a really wonderful person, and I'll be actually doing a telesummit with her. I'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so neutralizing karma, the third aspect of ascension. Okay, so of course, karma is just the law of the universe, cause and effect. And karma is what balances and neutralizes our actions and responses, right? So we are working towards balancing and harmonizing our karma. And it is important to be aware of this because we, as an infinite being of light, you could have had thousands of lifetimes here on earth already, and you just don't remember them. And so this is what my guides said about this. They said that there are karmic reasons to choose a body. There are neutralizations that are chosen when you are in the chamber or between lives. When you are in a body, you create karma. The karma is part of the universal way of being, part of how things work. One cannot not create karma while in a physical body. It is just the way of things. So as human beings, we can neutralize our karma by being nice, being loving, and basically just being a good person. Okay, so that's good news. So we don't create, bad things in our lives. And ultimately, we are heading to a stage of evolution where we are off the wheel of karma and we're co-creating through love. Okay, so there is a study that you guys can look up if you're interested that has to do with what's called the rainbow body, which I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but there's these monks in Tibet who they don't have a negative thought for 13 years.
Wow.
So can you imagine that? Like for just a second. Not one
Wow.
negative
Wow.
thought in 13 years. Okay.
Astounding.
Honestly, I don't even know how that's possible. But what they are trying to do is ascend. Okay, it's just like we are. They're on the ascension path, but they achieve what's called a rainbow body. And so what happens is when they've had multiple people have done this. Their body shrinks to about a third of its original size, maybe even a little bit smaller. And supposedly there is a rainbow like that you can see when the ascension happens. So I think that's how it got its name, the rainbow body. And also that reminds me too, if you ever look at a clear quartz crystal and you ever see like those little rainbow inclusions. So those rainbow inclusions actually happen from a human touching that crystal.
Oh my.
And it's part of your imprint going into the crystal.
Wow.
So we have a rainbow body within us that is it's quite interesting. I would love to like study up more on this, but it's very fascinating. But anyway, after the Tibetan person ascends, he goes into his rainbow body and then he disappears. His body shrinks to a third of its size. And there's a big celebration. They create a little shrine and everything. And it's a celebration. And then some of them will come back and actually like show that they're still there. And they will put like their footprints or their handprints into the rock to show that they've ascended. So it's really fascinating, but you do have to go for at least 13 years without a negative thought. So I don't know about us, in the West. I think we're on a slightly slower ascension path.
Cynthia, how old is that? Cynthia, how old the rainbow monks? How long has that been going on? Is that, ancient stuff? New or?
It's been going on a long time. Yeah, a long time, I'm sure. But it's not really well known. So
No,
yeah,
I've heard of it.
but it is fascinating.
It is fascinating.
Yeah, so if you can find out more about those guys, I recommend it. But when you think about living like the life of a monk, right? I mean, all you're doing every day is meditating and praying and all that. So it is just a path, right? It's a path. And we chose our path to be here in the trenches, so I don't feel bad about the path that I'm on. I chose it, right? So there's another thing we can do just on our end, like how can we work on our own karma? And there's you've probably heard of this one, the Hawaiian process called Ho'oponopono. It's quite well known. And you just say there's 4 phrases that you repeat over and over again. So the phrases are, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And so there was actually a hospital in Hawaii where this guy went in, and it was like an insane asylum type hospital. And he didn't meet with any of the patients. He just did this Ho'oponopono, and everybody got better. That was the result. Everybody got better, and they shut down the hospital. So it really does work. It's amazing. And it's not just like, sometimes people think, oh, well, what am I sorry for? So you don't have to think of it like that, like, like you did something wrong. Sometimes I think people misinterpret this. It's more like saying I'm sorry about the situation, right? It's not necessarily like you need forgiving. It's just a way to soften your heart. Okay, it's not to feel guilty. Okay, so I want to stress that. And so we maintain our freedom by practicing forgiveness, recognizing yourself and others in all things, choosing compassionate thoughts, practicing kindness, but not being victimized, right? Because no one should violate your free will any more than you violate theirs. And respecting everyone and everything, including the self, and releasing vows from past lives and ancestral lineage. Okay, so I've been learning a lot about the ancestors and the ancestral lineage as well through my meditations. I had one of my grandmothers come in one of my meditations a while back, and I thought that was really interesting because she told me that she was the one responsible for this vow of silence that I took on, and she like passed it on to the whole family. And at first I was like, wow, why would you do that? Like, are you punishing us? Like, why is nobody listening to me? This was my ego self talking, right? And her message was like, well, I brought this to you as a gift so that you could listen to your higher self and you could actually hear your higher self. And I thought, wow, what a great gift. Like, that's amazing. Like, I was so grateful after I learned that about my my great grandmother Violet. So that was pretty amazing. So yeah, so sometimes we think something is a curse, or like people talk about the family curse. You've probably heard those terms. But it could actually be a gift, like maybe you're being given a gift for a reason. So it's all on how you look at it. Okay. So the next aspect of ascension, discovering of self. Okay, the words above the Oracle of Delphi in Greece are know thyself. And you came to Earth for a specific life purpose unique to you. Collectively, we come to Earth to grow and evolve spiritually so that we may raise our vibration and ascend into the next higher density. So, of course, this is where I begin my discussion on hand reading, which I feel is so valuable. In order to discover who you are, you absolutely should know what your hands have to say about you. You should study your astrology, your Chinese astrology, your numerology, any tool basically that helps you discover who you are. I am all for. I think a lot of people don't really know themselves, or they may think they know themselves, but they don't really. These tools can really guide you and just help you make better decisions. And of course, your hands are a reflection of you in all aspects of your being. So very, and they're dynamic too. That's the other thing I love about hand reading. So yes, we do have fingerprints, which are permanent, but then we've got lines, which are changeable. So all of these things are really, really amazing. Okay, so our next aspect of ascension, embodying the exalted self. Okay, so what does that even mean, exalted self, right? So I address this in the book. So according to the Oxford Dictionary, the word exalted means a person placed at a high or powerful level, held in high regard, or in a state of extreme happiness. Therefore, to live our exalted self, we need to hold ourselves in high regard so that we can exude that state of happiness outward. Why do we need to embody the exalted self? To embody our exalted self holds the vibration for others and the planet to do the same, accelerating everyone's ascension. So, yeah, so this is something that I learned is that, yeah, if you want to help the planet, the best thing that you can do is to live your best life and ascend. So live by these principles, live every day to the best of your ability, and you're going to impact the planet in way more ways than you can imagine. So that was actually very empowering to think about the exalted self this way, because a lot of times we think, who am I to do anything? I'm such a small person. I'm one person. It's like, you know what? Stop thinking like that. Okay, each and every one of you who is here and those who are not here are all very important. And we just give our power away and we don't realize how much power we actually have. Okay, so that's what this is saying, why we need to live in this exalted self state. So I thought that was really cool because it really puts you in the driver's seat. It's like, okay, what am I doing today to impact the planet? You know, even as something as simple as saying a prayer, right? Say a prayer for Gaia, you know, send love to the center of the earth. You know, all of these things, they do matter and they do make a difference. So the opposite of the exalted self is the powerless or victimized self. Explore your beliefs. You are not bound to those beliefs. Okay. So if you think you're small and insignificant, then you need to start thinking differently. Right. So, I mean, this whole thing with me and my flight review, right? Okay. So I was stressing out on my flight review and I lost my confidence on my landings because I had a hard landing last year. And so I damaged the plane. I pulled it out. I mean, I was slammed down on the runway about 10 feet up, and it was incredibly scary. People die from stuff like this. So, you know, it's very humbling because it makes you realize how fragile you are and how precious your life is too, right? But I did everything right. You know, as a pilot, you put power in and you do what you got to do, and you land that plane all the way to the ground, right? No matter what, that's what you do. But it really shook my confidence. And then I ended up having to lose the plane for about 8 months for repairs because it takes forever to sometimes get some of the parts for the plane. So I didn't fly for quite a while. And so I thought about quitting. I thought about like, maybe I'm not doing the right thing, you know, and my guides had told me, well, if you fly, it will make you more multidimensional. So that was the whole reason why I got into flying in the first place. And so I thought, wow, I was just questioning like everything, right? So I wasn't in my exalted self space at all. And so when I finally got the plane back and I decided, okay, it's fixed, it's great, it's perfect, you know, I'm gonna get back into it. But it took some time to build up that confidence. But I do recommend, you know, wherever you're at in your life, you know, you have a setback, you have a hardship, you have something that just is like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I want you always to value yourself because we're supposed to go through these things, right? We're supposed to go through these hardships. We're supposed to learn, right? We're learning every second of the day. We have opportunities to learn. And what I learned from this whole hard landing was that, you know, I'm a pretty darn good pilot. I mean, I didn't crash the plane. I pulled out the landing, even though I was thrust into a situation that was clearly over my head. And there's nothing to be afraid of, right? Even if I had killed myself, right? What am I? I'm eternal. I am an infinite being of light, and I would continue on. So, you know, we don't need to fear death. We don't need to fear change. We don't need to fear pretty much anything, really, because you're going to be just fine. And the universe has your back. The universe supports you. The universe is going to catch you. Okay. And so anyway, that's my little blurb about that. Okay. So asking yourself, what blessing is waiting to be discovered today? Okay, that is a good question you can ask yourself. It's a great way to start your day, and it opens the door to your multidimensionality. So, okay. Does anyone have any comments up to this point? By the way, I'd like to open the door to any comments. Okay. Sheila, should I call on you?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the link. I've been trying to find that Kindle link. I'm not sure where else to look. Where should I look?
Okay. Let me send it to you. All right, we'll take a short little pause, and I'll make sure you have the link. Or maybe I'll just type it in myself. Let's see. Yes, I want everybody to have the link. Here we are. Let's see if I can figure out what it is. Here, let me see if I could copy it. I'll text it to you. How about that?
Okay.
Or no, actually, would it be better to email you?
You could. Either one.
Okay. Let me send you an email really quick. All right. Thanks everybody for your patience on this. I should have had this ready. Does anyone else have any comments? Okay. All right, that's the link on its way. Okay. That'll be the Kindle version, although we should have, as of 5 minutes ago, we should have the soft cover should be available. So I'm hoping that it launched. We'll see. All right, so learning lessons. Let's move on to the next aspect of ascension. Okay, so why do we need to learn lessons? Lessons are there to help us grow as individual sparks of divine light and to reflect to others so they may grow. Many of our biggest challenges in life help us to grow the most quickly and deeply. So yeah, so this is just like I was saying about my flying lessons. You know, I had no idea how hard it was going to be, but you know, it turned out to be a very good thing. And I highly recommend looking at all of your lessons as opportunities for growth. Okay. So the sixth aspect, connecting to higher and higher states of love and bliss. Love is connection to what is real, which is source energy. Okay, so here is a message that I got from my higher self about this. So do not listen to the fear, do not acknowledge it, do not give it any emotional attachment. It is through the emotional attachment that one gives it more strength. Yes, focus on the love, light, truth, harmony, bliss. It connects you more to the crystal city, for that is such a beautiful place. It is such a light. It is so easy to shift one's attention, but there are many distractions that are trying to bring the energy back down into more density. Keep focusing on the light and the love. All right, so yeah, they're definitely saying that love is what is real. Love is what we need to focus on. All right, and the crystal city, by the way, is referring to where we go in between lives. Some people think of it like heaven. But the crystal city, I think of as where we go to prepare for our next incarnation in a body. Okay, so the seventh aspect of ascension, co-creating with source. We are a divine spark of source energy, and this energy is expansive and naturally creative. Therefore, we are naturally creative. And so here's what my higher self had to say about working with the one. You go into a body to learn. When you are in the infinite space, there is a oneness connection where you are more a collective. When you go into a body, it's more of an individual process. It is a very personal journey, a way to evolve. It is a curiosity for the one. The one wants to experience everything, so we choose to have that unique experience to reconnect it back to the one for learning and growing. It is an honored choice because you choose to go. You don't have to go. There are many who stay and think it's too restrictive and too difficult. Their growth process is slower, but also honored. All choices are honored. So that's an indication of we as humans, not everybody comes into a human experience, but every choice is honored and everybody's on an ascension path, essentially. So elevating our vibration. Okay, so every chapter, I included this actually later on. I'm really proud of myself for waiting. I wanted to publish this back in July. My guides were so funny. They're like, we want you to finish this by July. And I did finish most of the writing by July, but then I decided to wait just a little bit because I'm like, I feel like there's more stuff that's going to come through and I'm not quite ready yet. And what came through was this extra section on elevating your vibration. And I'm like, oh, good. I'm so glad that this happened. And I got to publish in November instead. But my guides told me that you, the reader, shall be receiving a vibrational upgrade as you read this book. My guides will be working with you and your own guides so that you may receive activations. So they gave me different activations that I put in for each chapter. So this is I think one of the best parts of the book. So there are 4 areas that you need to think about, okay? And these are called the 4 areas to influence your reality. These include thoughts, feelings, actions, and responses. All are essential to creating our reality, okay? So then we can take a moment to calibrate our own energy field with these words of power. And I would recommend that you do this with me. So take your thumb, remember our finger of willpower and manifestation, place it on your heart, okay? And we're going to calibrate these words of power, okay? And I recommend that you repeat these out loud with me. I know that I am a magical manifester.
I know that I'm a magical manifester
Of any abundance.
of any abundance.
My thoughts support this knowingness.
My thoughts support this knowingness.
I feel my multidimensionality.
I feel my multidimensionality.
And recognize
And recognize
that I am more than my body.
that I am more than my body.
I am taking action
I am taking action
in aligning with my knowingness now.
in aligning with my knowingness now.
I respond to events
I respond to events
in my life,
in my life,
knowing that I am a magical manifester.
Knowing that I'm a magical
Knowing that
manifester
I'm a magical manifester
of any abundance.
of any
of
abundance.
any abundance.
All right, thank you. And so it is.
So it
Thank
is.
you.
Okay, and then inhale that right into your heart. How does that feel? Feels pretty good, right? Okay, so that's essentially chapter 1. Okay, so I hope that gets you excited because that's only chapter 1. There's 7 more chapters after that. And there's a lot that's included. So, okay, does anybody have any questions or comments on that?
I've been using the I've actually got the 8 essential intentions here on my phone. Like the magical
Oh,
manifesto one. I listen to
yes.
those on like pretty much when I go to sleep every night, and it like over time it's changed the way I think about stuff. Like I'm finding that I'm manifesting the stuff like at the click of a finger these days. It's kind of crazy, whether it's
That's
good stuff or
awesome.
bad stuff. So it's kind of I like need to focus on the right things. But like I said, that's definitely made a huge shift. So that's pretty awesome. Those meditations.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Thanks for sharing that,
Mhm.
Karen. Yay. Sweet. Okay, well, yeah, this stuff works. It definitely does. Prepare to be changed. All right. Okay, so let's move along to, let's see, what else do I want to tell you about? Okay, so I am going to be launching a new program in December. A few of you already know about it, but it's called the Portals of Ascension Mastery. It's going to be a much bigger program than I've ever taught before. So I'm really excited. And you're going to learn more about that in the next few weeks. And I am doing 2 events that are free events that you're definitely welcome to attend. And if you're on my email list, you're definitely going to get plenty of reminders about them. The first one is going to be on December 7th, and it's called Jazz Up Your Life with Judy. It's a telesummit, and I'm going to be talking about spiritual ascension through hand analysis. So we're going to be focusing a lot on the hands and what the hands have to tell us. And it's live, which is really fun. So if I like this is live, right? So it's always fun to do stuff live. It's going to be at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on December 7th. Okay, and there will be a replay, by the way, if you can't make it, but I'll send you guys all links to that. And the second one is going to be by Jules Arness, the one who wrote my foreword. She's doing a what's called Raise Your Vibration Summit. And she is going to air my episode on December 10th. So I'm going to have 2 back-to-back shows, which I'm really excited about, right in alignment with the new program that I'm offering. So I'm very excited. All right. So does anybody have any questions? And we're going to do a short meditation to finish before we wrap up. So any questions about anything, by the way? It doesn't even have to be about the book. It can be about anything. Okay. All right, no questions. All right. Okay, so we will move on to the meditation. I brought in my crystal bowl, which I've got this really beautiful bowl. So here's my bowl. Okay. This one is for the heart chakra, so I thought that would be fun. hopefully everybody will be able to hear it. Just tell me if you can't hear this.
Okay.
Can everybody hear this?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So we'll be bringing the bowl in. Oh, Kona just perked up, my dog. He's like, oh, I love the bowls. That's like his favorite part.
Really?
Yeah, he was just taking a nap, but yeah, he loves the bowls. It's like his favorite.
Well, Cynthia, I
Okay.
have two little dogs next to me here. I wonder if they're going to respond to that, to the
Yeah,
ball.
they
be
probably
curious to
will.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
my sister's dogs are with me. Yes. Okay.
Oh, fun.
They're
Yeah, they
little.
love these
Yeah, they're
bowls,
little
I'm
and
telling you.
they're behind me and sleeping, but let's see if they wake up when you use your bowl. Let's see.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right, so everybody just relax. And I'm going to start off with actually reading from chapter 3. So chapter 3 is about our spiritual friends who are, chapter 3 is titled, You're Never Alone. Remember to call on your spiritual friends. Okay, so I love this chapter because it reminds us, like sometimes we feel like we're alone, but we never are. And so I'm going to bring in a fairly long transmission that I received from the Pleiadian Council of Light. Okay, so they're an ET group that started communicating to me definitely after I moved to Sedona. So now that I'm here in Sedona, I'm in the vortex energy. We've got some pretty amazing energy here, by the way. If you've never been here, I recommend you come for a visit, and please let me know when you're coming so I can make time for you, because I would love that. So the Pleiadians, they said that I am of Pleiadian lineage. So it's based on my fingerprint patterns. They've been teaching me all sorts of stuff about what is actually, like what we are as what we would call a star seed, right? Some people use that term. So they said that you can actually call them in. So here's an invocation to call them in, and then I'll read the transmission, then we'll do the meditation. So Pleiadian Council of Light, I call you in, a welcome sight. Communicate and share your truth today so that I may relay what you have to say. Okay. Oh, okay, Sue. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, so good to see you. Okay, so we are the Pleiadian Council of Light. We are here to share loving illumination of God's holographic transmissions. So light is actually an acronym. We would very much like to share what we can with you and those who are ready to hear the truth. There are many still in the very convincing illusion of separation and agony of distress. We will give you some protocols for you to do to assist in slowly cracking the shell. For if the shell is cracked too quickly, it can lead to further psychological or physical damage to the delicate human form. This is why we don't just appear and speak to everyone. There is too much risk and too many still who are trapped inside their created illusions. Illusion, you can break this word down. I lose I on, which means I lose connection with the one. It is important to begin to slowly reconnect for all who feel and realize this temporary disconnect and build an awareness of this temporary situation. What are the steps to reconnecting with the one? Step 1 is to reject the lies you believe to be true all of your breathing days on earth, that you are alone or you are anything less than divine energy in an individual form. Step 2 is to recognize this in all others. Earth is a playground of choice, a way to experience the physical body and all the sensations of time, space, an illusion of time moving only forward. As you reconnect your true nature, you will realize that you can heal anything from any timeline, past or future. Okay, so I want everybody to just think about something that you want to heal, and even if you're not fully aware, It's okay. Just kind of go with it. All right. So just, you can close your eyes if you like and just relax. And I'm going to play my bowl. And take a deep breath in. Go inward. Close your eyes. See yourself as nothing but light. The brilliant white light. Like staring straight at the sun, your current Earth star. Let this light go to your infinite past and shine on everything you have ever done or, quote, failed to do. Let it show you that you are this divine light. Focus on this light. All that happened or didn't happen was part of your choice to be an individual expression of the divine. All of it had purpose. All of it had function. There is no judgment on any of it. Only when we hold onto judgment does it remain in our field and tether us to restriction. Release judgment to be free again and reconnect to the one. Repeat this invocation to yourself. I release all judgments
I release
of
all
what I have done or what I have not done in all lifetimes, past, present, and future. I am free. I am free. I am free. To be divine love, expressing through this individual entity. And so it is. Feel any pain that you felt from your past fall away through this light. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes again. All right, so that is from the Pleiadians. They're always so friendly and helpful. How's everybody feeling?
Very good.
Good. Okay. Well, does anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? And look
It's
at the
just
timing.
I know it's good to see you, Cynthia. I was glad I was able to hop on.
Oh, where are you? Who's speaking?
John, I'm in my car though.
Oh, John, yay. Oh, I'm so glad you can make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, okay, so everybody can check out my book. Oh, I do have one more announcement before we wrap up. Which of course would really help me. Okay, so if you're interested in helping me as an independent author, if you choose to read the book, which of course is your choice, I would love if you would give me a review on Amazon. The more reviews I can build up, and Dr. Davia mentioned this earlier, it really helps. And hopefully we can spread the word about love and ascension and multidimensional manifesting so everybody can benefit. So this book definitely was a labor of love that needed to come through me, and I'm just happy to share it with all of you. So I appreciate each and every one of you.
We appreciate you, Cynthia.
Thanks, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. And lots more to come. So I'm definitely not going anywhere. I will be
Great.
around.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
Cool.
All right. So,
Thanks, Cynthia.
all right. Well, have a wonderful day,
Thank you
everyone.
very
And
much.
yeah,
You
thanks for
too, dear.
coming.
Peaceful evening.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.